Save the Semantics, episode 189. It is October 17th, 2022. My name is Myro. This is the podcast where I ramble on for a bit about some shit. It's soon transitioning into the premier NBA podcast where I will watch every single game, dissect every single play, read into the advanced stats, all of that. I do it all. So get ready for some in-depth shit coming up for the NBA season, because I'm gonna be doing it all. Yeah, stay tuned. It's actually crazy that the NBA season is starting tomorrow. I mentioned this last time as well, but it just feels like the sort of the waiting period in between the finals and the start of the regular season is just completely flown by, which is kind of wild. I feel, I don't know, maybe it's just the passage of time in general for me. Just the perception of time and time passing has kind of changed for me, or I have different responsibilities and obligations now. So when those things come up, then I'm not thinking about much else really. So I don't know. It's just kind of wild because I just remember when I was younger, I was just waiting for the season to start. And I mean, it also happened to be that the Warriors they didn't make it to the playoffs until for a long time really. I mean, there was that period where 2008 upset the Mavs, and then 2009 through 2013, it was a pretty rough drought for them. So during that time, it was a lot of waiting around for the season to start and anticipating things to come around, things to get better and stuff. So kind of wild, kind of a interesting place to be right now. Speaking of the Warriors, last weekend they signed Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins to some pretty hefty contracts, well deserved in my opinion. I think the total salary for all the players is somewhere around $460 million or something like that. I forgot what the exact number was, but some crazy fucking shit. Almost nearing $500 million, which is wild to me. Just the amount of money these guys get, man, is crazy. It's unfathomable. You know what I mean? I mean, I think I did this a while ago to just kind of put things in perspective in terms of how much money these guys make compared to the average person, and the amount of time, and considering how young these guys are, you know what I mean? Jordan Poole is 23, he's 23, right? And he's going to be making $100 million for the next, 100, I forgot what it was exactly, 120, 140, something crazy like that, over the next 4 years. So it's just wild. And then, think about the highest paying profession for for a non-athlete is what, a surgeon. Surgeon makes up to $1 million a year potentially, and that's fucking nothing compared to what an athlete makes. I was thinking Brandon Clark of the Grizzlies, he signed a four-year $50 million deal. That's still 10 mil a year. 10 mil plus a year, which is fucking ludicrous in my opinion. I don't know. It's just so crazy to me, just how much these guys make. You know what I mean? I understand sort of the data and stuff, how the business is for the most part, how much money the NBA makes on everything, jersey sales, tickets, paying for NBA TV or League Pass or whatever. Just all of this, it's a whole thing. I understand that, but still, it's a fuck ton of money. You know what I mean? It's a lot. So it's yeah. I mean, it just kind of puts things into perspective, like how much, how lucrative these businesses are, how wealthy the people involved get, and then just kind of comparing it to like other aspects of like American society, I guess. It's pretty wild. I don't know. It's always I always like I always take a step back whenever I look at, the numbers. Like whenever I hear I've listened to like the NBA podcasts and watch some other NBA media and stuff like that, but just hearing people being like, "Oh, that's like a really good contract. That's a great contract for the team. He's he's a good player. He's a good role player. He's making $60 million a year in this 5-year contract." It's like, what the fuck? Hold on, can we just like take a step back like a little bit in terms of like what you just said? It's just like, yeah, no, this is great. This is like a great deal for the team. Like $30 million for the next 3 years. Like, oh, this is such a good deal. This is not me, by the way. This is not me like defending like like I'm not saying that they shouldn't be paid that amount. I'm just saying like just consider the amount of money that they are earning. You know what I mean? Like it's just wild. In a year they're making it's in a year they're making more than what most people will make in a lifetime, right? That's just what it is. That's just what it is. And just the average NBA player. And I understand that they are performing at the highest level imaginable for the sport. But it's still crazy to me. It's still really crazy to me just thinking about what they earn. Again, you can argue they deserve it. They've worked hard to get to that point, and they are part of the money making machine that is the NBA, and I understand that. But it's just sometimes you just have to take a step back and be like, fuck, dude, it's a fuck ton of money. So yeah, I'm happy they got signed. I'm happy that Poole and Wiggins got their contracts in order. Regarding Draymond, it seems like things have been handled for the most part. Like I saw some clips of the preseason games. I haven't really watched any full games or really that many highlights, but he's on the bench. Like, so he's there. He hasn't been suspended. It doesn't seem like he is, which is pretty crazy. I was like, for sure he's gonna get suspended, but I guess they were able to work it out internally, which is good for the team. I think it's good for the team. I don't know how much of a precedence that sets for the rest of the NBA. There's a lot of discussion about how a lot of that kind of behavior was sort of more or less commonplace, or it's been seen like players being aggressive and stuff like that. But I think, I don't know, it's Steve Kerr talking about getting punched by Michael Jordan, that sort of thing. But I don't know, it's considering where the team stands now with the new contracts and everything, I don't really know what Draymond's position would be if he were to, for his next, the next time, once his contract runs out, which I believe would be for next season. I'm curious as to what the or how he's going to handle it, what he is really seeking. Like, would he take a pay cut to stay with the team, retire with this team, or would he go somewhere else for a big, a bigger contract? I don't know. Like, I just think that's still kind of in the open. I don't really know. I don't know where he's at really. Um, but I'm happy with how the Warriors kind of managed it. I'm really happy with the fact that they're investing in like sort of the newer generation. I know Wiggins is what, like 27, but investing in Poole and then potentially like Kuminga, Moody, and Wiseman. I think there's just a lot to really look forward to. And it's possible, just as much of a pillar Draymond has been for the team for the past however long. There I think it's great that they're just able to continue working towards something new. Like even if like the next couple of years are probably going to be the last run for this this group of for the Steph, Clay, and Draymond, I think it's awesome to kind of look forward to this possibility of this newer generation and just kind of continue on. Still be a pretty, decent team. Like, I don't know if they're going to be championship caliber once like Steph retires, but still they could still be really good. And that's fucking exciting. There's just so much possibility with what's going on. So yeah, I don't know. I think they've handled it pretty well considering all things considered. And if Draymond does leave, it's just kind of like, okay, well, it really could have gone much worse, but if it's like an amicable kind of split where he's like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna try to make as much money as I can before I eventually retire, you know what I mean? So, crazy stuff though, crazy stuff. I don't know how, I was pretty invested last year in the season, especially towards like the beginning of the regular season. I'm trying to like, I'm happy with, obviously I'm incredibly happy with how things ended up for us. Despite the current bit of a predicament, for the Warriors, but I don't know. I there's a lot of other things to be excited for other than for my Warriors. There are a lot of up and coming teams that kind of have this potential. I'm looking at like the Cavs, the Pelicans, who else? It's like a younger team that I'm sort of like intrigued by. I think those two teams are the ones that where I'm like, okay, those are interesting. There's a lot of potential with them, and I think it's going to be exciting to see Zion in action with that kind of Pelicans core. I think they look pretty good. I feel, I mean, considering where they ended up in the playoffs, winning 2 games against the Suns, like I think they played really well, and it was exciting to watch. There's a lot of potential there. I like Brandon Ingram. I like Valanciunas. I know he's one of the vets of the team, but I think he fits in pretty well with the rest of them. Herb Jones, I think there's just, I don't know, there's a lot to look forward to with that team, and they're exciting and fun to watch from what I've seen. So I kind of have my eye on them. For the Cavs, they picked up Donovan Mitchell, I think, which makes a lot of sense. In terms of getting a star scorer. Like, I know, like, you could argue Garland kind of has that potential, but I don't know if he's quite there yet in terms of, scoring ability. I don't know, like a, primary scorer on the team. So I think it just kind of fits with what they have going on. So the Cavs should be pretty good this year. They almost made it to the playoffs. They just kind of ran out of gas. Injuries plagued them, unfortunately, towards the end. So I think, I think they're going to be like top 6 in the East for sure. I think I think that just makes sense. What else? The Wolves picked up Rudy Gobert, right? So they should be a pretty good team, and leading into the playoffs. There's a lot of like criticisms regarding Gobert and his, I guess, playoff career, right? Because they haven't really gone past, I guess, the second round when he was with the Jazz. So I don't know. I think that could be a pretty tough team, and they're massive now, right? With Cat at the 4 and Gobert at the 5, that's a huge team right there. So that's something to kind of look forward to see kind of how well they mesh together. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to look forward to with this upcoming season. I don't know. I think, again, I don't know how invested I am gonna be with games and stuff. I don't have League Pass because I know that I'm not gonna watch every single game. I'm just gonna be kind of wasting money. And I watch highlights anyway, and those are just on YouTube. So that's kind of for any games that I miss, which is probably most of them, I'll just catch up the highlights, and any live games I can watch. I can call myself lucky there. Yeah, a lot of fun things to kind of look forward to with the NBA. Some interesting stuff right there. I had to get my phone fixed today. It was acting completely just out of whack. I had it just kind of comes with, the fact that I stick to just buying used phones, and I probably am going to keep doing that until I'm forced to buy a new phone and be like, okay, this shit that I've had in the past is all completely obsolete, so I got to move on at a certain point. But yeah, for the most part, that's probably what I'm going to stick with, is just kind of getting the used phones and working from there. Among other things, I've been listening to some, not new, I guess you can call it new music. A couple of projects. I listened to Open Mike Eagle's new album. Let me pull that up just so I get the title right. I thought it was really good. I was kind of so on his last project. He was very personal in his last album. He was talking about the divorce that he went through, which can be kind of, you could argue, can be kind of traumatic in some regards. I kind of wanted a little bit more in terms of, I don't know, sound, music, that sort of thing. I really enjoyed Brick Body Kids Still Daydream. I think that's one of his best albums. I still really enjoy Dark Comedy from way back. Qualifiers, one of his more popular songs and one of my favorite songs of his. But his newest album is I think really solid. He still very, very much has his alt hip hop kind of elements to it, but there is some level of some more, I guess, traditional hip hop sounds, I guess you could call it, which I personally enjoy. It's a really solid album all the way through. I think it's something that I'll probably give another listen, maybe have in my rotation for right now. The album is called Component System with the Auto Reverse. Very solid. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I do recommend. Something else that I listened to that was a little out of my element, a little different, is Jean Dawson with Chaos Now. Uh, I would call it like alt rock, sort of pop punk, hip hop. Um, Not something that I commonly listen to. I enjoyed it quite a bit. There were some tracks that I liked. I like Three Headed Monster. Excuse me. I liked, what else did I like off of it? It's very loud. It's very like, it's like ugh in your face. Which one was the one with Isaiah Rashad? There was one with Isaiah Rashad that I enjoyed, but I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if it's like really my taste, but like once in a while I like something that's like not um it's a little out of my wheelhouse in terms of sound. Like I don't really listen to pop punk. I guess it's sort of, kind of in the vein of like maybe like a Blink 182, Sum 41. Um but I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was interesting. Um and what else? I've been listening to this I listened to this new EP. Khruangbin kind of did a collaboration with, called, let me look it up, Ali. And they collaborated with, I'm gonna butcher his name, Fo Far Vo Farcatore. I believe he is a um let me actually just, you know what, I'm just gonna look his name up just so I don't like, you know, out of respect, like I'm not gonna just like say his name and then not like credit it or whatever, you know what I mean? Let me go to the artist here. He's from Mali, so from the African country of Mali. I listened to that project with Khruangbin that they did a collaboration with, and then I kind of fell into like a little bit of a rabbit hole. I listened to his other music, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I kind of fell into sort of more like African acoustic guitar music, and that's been really nice. I think that's once in a while I stumble across sort of this separate genre of music which I'm not super familiar with, and I really enjoy it. Like I like kind of falling into these little kind of like pockets where I really don't know a ton about the genre or the musicians at all, and I really enjoy it. I think it's worth exploring international music, just because like you find some really nice stuff there. So I'm probably going to continue to venture forth into that, find some new stuff, probably add it to my queue, and maybe find some new favorite artists. I don't know. Like I think there's some nice stuff there that I like. So some cool things to look forward to. In terms of other things, not a whole lot else. I've just been kind of chilling. Have had some time to, I guess, relax in a sense. I feel somewhat rested. I think my sleep has kind of improved in the last couple of days, mainly because I've gotten actually like the 7-8 hours of sleep that a human generally needs, which is good. So yeah, I've been feeling pretty decent for the most part. So I'm gonna try my best to continue with whatever routine that I have going on, because it seems to be working relatively well. And not much else. Gonna continue to play Xenoblade, of course. I still have a lot to do. I'm thinking of doing another run of it in Japanese, because I haven't heard the Japanese voice acting yet. So I'm excited to hear that. Excited to kind of check out how that sounds. I've heard that the voice acting is very well done on the Japanese part too. It might be a little getting used to like the British English voice acting is going to be kind of, interesting, kind of transitioning into the Japanese, but I don't know. There's a lot to. I'm looking forward to replaying it and hearing it in the native language that it was intended. So, yeah. Anyways, not much else on my plate, like I've mentioned, but yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for listening. This has been Save the Semantics. Signing off.